Well, hello, I'm here with Doug to talk about here's the important lesson for the day. Don't question genocide. And I'll talk about stories about that and other things. And today is Friday, August 22, 2025. And the reason I chose that title, that seemed to be the most important group of stories in politics. As you know, the United States is the only friend Israel has in the world, and we continue to fund and give them arms as they completely slaughter the people of Gaza. And the Israeli leaders will give a speech in English where they say, "Oh, we're going to send them off to some nice place to live, and everything will be fine." And then they'll switch to Hebrew and say, "We're just going to wipe them out totally, like we did in the Bible, every last one of them." And but I was reminded, I heard an interview where they talked to a German who lived through the Nazi period, and they said, "How could you let them just slaughter the Jews?" And he said, "Well, they didn't tell us that was happening. They told us they're living in this rotten ghetto, and we're shipping them off by train to some nice place for them to live. We're improving their housing." And we believed that. And so anyway, it's all over the place. So Microsoft is working with Israel to help them perform the genocide, and their Microsoft employees are protesting. And they had 18 arrests while Microsoft employees were protesting. They were doing things like pouring red paint on the Microsoft sign. And so they posted videos of the protest, and Microsoft used DMCA takedown notices to take the videos off websites.
Okay.
So this is the usual kind of nasty stuff, just like we talked about before. IBM supported Hitler's genocide in South Africa and all that jazz. Um, and so a State Department employee was fired after questioning the talking points on Israel and Gaza. And I think when I read the story, it's very clear this person was fired not because of what they did, but because of their race. Their name is Shahed Gorishi, so they must be Middle Eastern or something. And so their contractor working for the Bureau of Near East Affairs, he wrote a line in a draft document that said the U.S. does not support the forced relocation of Gazans, which is something that President Trump and his special envoy have said repeatedly. But they said, well, that's a bad thing to say now. Apparently, now they do want to support the forced relocation of Gazans. And he also questioned a statement that refers to the West Bank as Judea and Samaria, which is the name they used to refer back to the biblical time when the um, Jewish people committed genocide all the time, and it was pretty standard at that time. But they were notable. I remember this part of the Bible bothered me when I was a young Christian reading the Bible. And they said, God ordered you to kill them all. Kill all the women, kill all the children, kill all the animals. If you let any of them live, we will punish you. And somebody let one of them live, and God's punishment came down on them for that. That's the stuff they are referring back to explicitly. And the thing is, the pro-genocide people in Israel are using this ancient term, Judea and Samaria, to say these lands actually belongs according to God to us. And the Christians, like Mike Huckabee, the U.S. ambassador, also do this. It is an interesting thing that the American ambassadors to ambassador to Israel and the officials going to Israel are fundamentalist evangelical Christians, and they support Israel taking over the area. But the part that I wonder if Israelis really understand is in the science fiction fantasy of fundamentalist Christianity that I used to know a lot about. The reason they support Israel is because they look at the book of Revelations and their interpretation is Israel has to conquer the land around it. And when that happens, Jesus will come back and kill all the Jews and send them all to hell, except for a tiny few. That's the glorious future that they see coming. So their support of Israel is not exactly something that's going to benefit the citizens of Israel in their mythology. But anyway, I had a student say they just came back from Israel, and they said 2 million of the 9 million people in Israel were out protesting this extermination of Gaza. So
Hmm.
apparently and you don't see that in the mainstream press here. In fact, what I've seen in the mainstream press here is they claim that complete extermination of Palestinians has 98% support on Israel, and that must be propaganda. Anyway, it's reaching the point where I think the citizens of Israel have figured out that their campaign of extermination and genocide is making them a pariah in the world. The only nation that's going to be their friend is America, and even Americans are pretty much figuring out that this is a bad idea. And I think we're in the same bad situation with almost every other political issue in America, where the vast number of the citizens of America do not like what's happening, but our leaders are hell-bent on going in a direction that has very little public support. So this is a time of great tension and division, and I think we will have a time of great change. The citizens will not put up with the many things going wrong in America much longer before we have a serious alteration in our government. I think there'll be a big backlash to the current fascist regime, hopefully starting in 26 and continuing in 28. Anyway, um,
Hmm.
there was another thing I heard.
Wait,
Yeah,
Sam, I got a question for you.
yeah,
So you're on Bible verses.
yeah.
About 20 years ago, there were some Texans. And
Oh,
as I remember, there's something in the Bible about, I think, a red cow
that's
or a
right, the
red
red heifer.
heifer.
Absolutely, the
Yeah,
red heifer. They have been trying to breed the perfect pure. Another thing from the book of Revelations. They're breeding the
right.
perfect red heifer in Israel, which will again bring about the end times.
Yeah, yeah.
This is
Okay,
I remember when I was a kid and went to church, we read a thing called the Nicene Creed. And I was
right.
asking my dad afterward, there's something in the Nicene Creed about how Jesus will come back and destroy the world, and we are supposed to make every effort to bring that about. And I said, is that really something we want? Is that really a good thing? Should we
Yeah,
really be trying? And I was surprised. The concept of Christianity, at least as practiced by fundamentalist groups in America, is that the whole world is like a train that's going to crash and burn, as opposed to like the Buddhist concept that the world is just a cycle and goes through cycles, which seems
yeah.
far more realistic and far more friendly to me. But that's why it's perfectly fine to exterminate animals and pollute the earth, because it's all just heading for a fiery end anyway. It's like a strange, apocalyptic concept.
Right, right.
And I've always had problems with it since I was a child.
Yeah. So do you know, I don't know, again, my information is about 20 years old, but are they still trying to breed the red cow?
Oh, that group is, yeah, and they're close
Okay,
related to the group that's now the official American presidency in Israel. That's the far right thing. Yeah, this is why
got it.
you have a lot of
Okay,
the far right influencers like Marjorie Taylor Greene want to end separation of church and state and just make Christianity the national religion. We are at a time when people are very unhappy with the government and they're willing to change things a lot. Like the
right.
Republican Party wants to end democracy and switch to medieval fiefdoms ruled by tech bros, everybody living in a company town. He says people feel like things are wrong and they just want to see big changes. And
Yeah,
forcing everybody to join Christianity seems like a progress to them, and censoring all the media and everything. It's just everybody. That's why every election is always a change election, because people are just uncomfortable with the way America is, and they just want to try changing things at random until something gets better.
well, they're for change, but then they're also resistant to change.
Well, they want to see change in their direction,
Yeah, right,
and
right,
they each have
right.
their idea of what, like the people on
Of
the
what their
left think
direction is.
the people on the left think we should have representation of minorities and public support for programs to help the poor people, and
Yeah,
people on the right think we should have white supremacy and male dominance. And you know, both people think that the current situation is bad and they want to move it, but they want to move it in
right.
different directions.
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's the
All right,
problem. Yeah.
what's your next story here?
So this one was surprising to me, and I heard about it on my by listening to independent Kyle Kalinske podcast and looked it up while I was at DEF CON in Vegas. Black Hat was held a week before, right in Vegas, and an Israeli cybersecurity official was at Black Hat, and the Nevada police held a pedophile sting where they posed as a 15-year-old girl online and lured men to come to try to have sex with this 15-year-old girl. And the cybersecurity official, top official from Israel, was caught in that sting, trying to have sex with a 15-year-old. And that's a crime, the, which has a punishment of like 1 to 10 years in prison in America. But because he was an Israeli government official, he paid a $10,000 bail and was sent back to Israel. And the official Israeli press erased all knowledge of this and said he doesn't even admit he was arrested. They said, oh, he was detained briefly for questioning. And I would think under normal circumstances, this would not only be a crime you get punished for, but a crime that you would be extradited for. So it is It sounds like that's the end of it. I guess he loses his $10,000 and he can't come back to America. And not clear what the consequences, if any, will be. But he's not being. I think he was placed on administrative leave back in Israel, though. They don't want him to maintain his high position because of this. So it's it's interesting. I heard this cast by Kyle Kalinske as an evidence of obvious corruption of the Israeli government, the American government, just letting him get away with it. And that might be true, or maybe there will be eventually some punishment. This kind of reminds me of Trump and the Epstein scandal, these these child sex scandals. It is. I was surprised, and it was a guy at Black Hat, a guy right in my field, right there. And I didn't hear anything about it while I was there, but I looked it up, and it's true.
Hmm.
So and Elon Musk said he was going to start a third party, but now he has canceled that, which was of course correct because he has like 2 or 4% support. Nobody would be in his third party. And what he says, he's going to go back to the Republicans because he can't go back to the Democrats. He's going to support J.D. Vance, which is the J.D.
Oh
Vance is total.
no.
Well, J.D. Vance has always been totally on board with Elon Musk's, tech lord feudalism
Yeah,
stuff, and so is Donald Trump Jr. So that is logically the next generation after Trump retires or dies or whatever gets, whenever Donald Trump stops ruling the party, that's apparently the next thing the Republicans will do is techno bro utopia stuff. Um, and I don't think that's going to succeed. In my opinion, that is not going to motivate their base voters the way Donald Trump's Archie Bunker type racism did. But that's apparently going to be the next thing. And Elon Musk's money may push it forward.
yeah, yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
That'll be exciting in 28. And anyway, I think that's the only one other political story worth mentioning is the yeah, in the same spirit of saying whatever you do in America, don't criticize genocide. The State Department has revoked 6,000 student visas, most of them apparently for, quote, support for terrorism. Support for terrorism means they attended like a campus protest against the Israeli genocide. And you
Yeah,
will have your visa revoked and be deported for that. So this is the thought crime era where there's a very important, it reminds me of the opposition to the Vietnam War and the people who defended legalizing marijuana. You have a position that is very popular that the government just wants to suppress by force. So the Vietnam War was very much like this, and eventually
yeah,
went on until
yeah.
they got the National Guard actually shot some student protesters, and that was kind of the deciding point where they said, we really just have to knock off this war. The people are really, really, really against this.
Right,
And I
right.
think our support for Israel is just unsupportive, indefensible. And I think within the next couple of years, we're going to have to stop supporting Israel this way, and Israel is going to have to stop the genocide. It's just reached the point where it's no longer acceptable to the people of America. And our politicians that have been bribed by AIPAC will have to decide that even that amount of money does not make up for the amount of voters that are turning against them.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
anyway.
All right. What else you got? You got any AI stories?
Oh, yes. But
Me too.
oh, yeah. Why don't you
Me
tell us,
too.
start with one of yours.
No, no. Let me. What?
Okay. Well, I got the,
Well, wait.
yeah,
I got one for
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Have you heard of any AI music lately?
Oh, nothing new. I mean, I've heard AI music for the last year or so, and some of my friends said this stuff is great, and I said, actually, I listen to music. I don't think that's very well done music, but of course, it's like a dog playing checkers. The point is, it can do it at all.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I've listened to some AI music this week, and it is very good.
Well, that's
Very good.
okay. Well, I haven't heard any good AI music.
Yeah, well, you might want to take a listen.
Yeah.
And there's a website that's been published,
Hmm.
and I got to laugh here, Sam. It's called the Walker Family Music website. Have you heard of the Walker family?
They're AI.
Well, they post all over their website, we are not AI. And for 35 years, the Walkers or the Walker family has been generating custom music.
Oh,
So for $99, and right now, the Walker family music is coming to a close. They've decided after 35 years of generating custom songs for people who've requested them that they've decided it's the end. So for $99, you can send in a request to have a custom song written about whatever topic you want written. So they advertise all over. It's not AI driven. This is not AI music. The Walker family has been around. Except if you try and find the Walker family in Google, in the Wayback Machine, there is no Walker family. So you take the images of the Walker family and you start doing reverse images. You find out it's a company either in Germany or the Netherlands or maybe the Philippines or kind of a combination that these are all AI images or AI actors that have given their image and voice over the past year. So the music that they come up with is pretty good. You send in $99. You tell them what the topic is, who it is you're writing a love song or whatever kind of music it is. And within a few days, they come back and they've got a great song for you.
But
The pro
they can't have really been doing it for 35 years, right? Because AI certainly hasn't been happening for 35 years.
Well, they're not AI though. They
Oh,
advertise on their website, we are not
but
AI.
but
This
it
is not,
is the past. This is just a fictional past, right? They weren't actually producing songs for over 35 years, I suppose. If they were, they would have had to really had humans producing the songs.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
nobody knows who the Walker family
Right, right. So they
is.
just
Yeah,
claim to have a history, but
yeah,
they don't
yeah,
really have a history. Okay.
yeah. So the person
Yeah.
that posted this paid the $99. They got their song.
Oh, sure.
And the woman's voice, I mean, the woman's name that the love song was about was completely wrong.
Oh, that's interesting. So they don't even do good AI.
No, so the person that bought paid the
Yeah.
$99, sent back and said, "Hey, wait a minute. This is the wrong song."
Well, this reminds me of during the pandemic, there was some website that got popular where, a celebrity would recite anything for you, and people,
Yeah.
and Giuliani was like sending you birthday wishes and stuff.
Oh, yeah, right,
And that
right.
guy, that Republican that faked everything and eventually went to jail named Cataro or something, he became
Yeah.
a big character on there. Shortly before he went to prison, he would send you birthday wishes or something. The guy, everything was fake about him. His name, he was actually in Congress until they threw him out. I forget his name, but he was all fake. And he became sort of a celebrity as like the world's biggest liar.
Anyway, so again, somebody submitted it. It was the wrong song. It
Yeah,
was the right topic, but the
yeah.
wrong woman's name.
Yeah, and of course now you could just go to any of the AI systems and say write a song about something, and they'll all do that now. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well,
So
that's
I think it's pretty funny.
yeah, that's
I
like
think
we
it's
talked about before, like the fake self-driving cars and the fake chess playing robots and everything.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's a whole lot of
Yeah.
that's one use of AI that's totally working is fraud. Yes. Um, so
So I
there's
don't know. I
yeah,
don't know if anybody's paying for it, but if you want a custom song
yeah,
that's not AI driven, that's AI driven
yeah.
or produced.
Well, yeah, that's right. For a while, it used to be that people would claim stuff was AI, but it was really humans. Now it's the opposite. Now they're claiming it's not AI, but it's really AI. So anyway, so I got some stories about AI failing. There's an MIT report that came out that's really shocking people, showing 95% of the pilot programs using AI at companies are failing. And they're failing to yeah, make significant money for the companies. And they say the most common mistake is a company tries to develop in-house a custom AI tool. And they say that almost always fails. People who purchase a pre-made tool and use it carefully as intended, that more likely succeeds. But anyway, this caused apparently tech stocks to actually fall by like 2% over a few days, Nvidia and everything, as people begin to confront the fact that this AI is not as great as they say it is. And even Sam Altman, the head of OpenAI, gave an interview where he said in the same interview, we're planning to spend trillions on data centers. Our evaluation should be many trillions, some incredible number. And he said AI is pretty much a bubble. It's overinvested and it's going to crash. So he's playing both sides of the fence. And of course, all that is true. People are going to continue to pour in tons of investment, but the fact is, it's all going to crash. And some people say it's going to bring down the whole economy with them. Other people say it won't because this is money people can afford to lose, as opposed to previous tech crashes where it killed companies because the companies that are pouring in all this money are companies like Microsoft, where they actually do have a revenue stream. So even when they lose all this investment in AI, it won't kill the company. And Meta, Mark Zuckerberg seems to be the king of over-investing in some garbage and then just giving up, like he did with the metaverse a few years ago. And so he's now suddenly canceled his investment in AI, even though he was off making pay offers up to a
What?
billion. Just a few weeks ago, he was offering people up to $1 billion to join him, be top
Right.
talent in AI. And now suddenly he's frozen AI hiring at Meta. So I think
Interesting.
he's figured out what everybody else figured out is that it's not remotely worth this vast amount of money, just like the metaverse before him.
Yeah.
And it's anyway, and Commonwealth Bank backtracked on their Commonwealth Bank of Australia is another company that cut 45 people, introduced an AI voice bot, and within a day said, "Oh, this is horrible." And now they've apologized to those workers and begged them to come back. And this is the thing that the people, Elon Musk and all the tech bros can't figure out is when you cut people, lay them off, and then you ask them to come back, they of course have no loyalty. They don't want to be there. You just shouldn't treat people this way. I mean, this is terrible. I really don't like the American culture, which apparently is made to Australia too, that people can just be discarded like light bulbs and replaced because studies show, I've read the management studies that say when you do this, people become alcoholics, their marriage breaks up, they sometimes commit suicide. Just firing people like this is a small thing is not okay. If you're out of money, you could cut their pay. It's also not good for the company because you lose all that knowledge and you have to retrain the new workers. This idea that you can boost your quarterly earnings by just laying off a bunch of people and that'll be just fine. It's not really just fine at all. It would be better to move back towards the old-fashioned thing of my childhood, where you get a job at Kodak and you work at Kodak for your whole career until you retire with a gold watch. That ought to be a common thing. And now it's ridiculous. Now everybody has, I tell them, you don't have any loyalty to a company. Everybody jumps to a new company every year or two. It, it's a new culture, and I'm not sure a wise one at all. But anyway, that's where we are. And the another fun one is, there's Google glasses and there's new Ray-Ban glasses, and they have a light that tells you when they're recording a conversation. Well, a new company launched by Harvard dropouts in San Francisco has made a new AI smart glasses that just record everything 100% of the time all around you and save it. And they say, this will be great. And it'll pop up a message and tell you what to say, like a cheat code for real life. It will use all this knowledge to predict what you should say and also profile everybody you meet and everything. And there's no light to warn people, so just be on all the time. And this will be great. Just like Microsoft Recall is the same thing, right? Record everything you do on your computer. This will record everything you do in real life and then confer upon you some benefit. It sounds pretty much illegal to surveil everything this way. Anyway, and they asked,
Hmm.
they said, isn't that illegal? And they said, oh well, in certain states you have to have consent to record things. But we leave that to our users. It's your job to inform everybody that you're recording them. Not our problem, they say. So we'll see what
Hmm.
comes of this. This is
You know,
one of those tech dystopia ideas where people are just recording everything all the time.
yeah, Sam, that's interesting because each state has their own laws on recording.
Yeah, and even for like phone calls. But this is going to be recording not just phone calls, but every conversation and everybody you walk past, everywhere, even in private homes and everything. I think there'll be a hell of a lawsuit if this thing actually becomes popular.
Yeah, yeah, because when it comes to video recordings,
Yeah,
there's a, uh, there's single consent, double consent, or
yeah,
both consent, as well as third party consent. In other words, if there are others there.
yeah.
And it depends if you're in public or private, and that's a state issue. That's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, and
I
this reminds me of the one we had last time where there are 100,000 people buying GPS trackers to just put in people's cars and handbags and everything and track down everywhere they go. These are just massive invasions of privacy that I think will lead to huge lawsuits.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. It has to become popular. There has to be one egregious case
Yeah.
that is going to bring this into the courts.
Yeah, but I mean, one thing, of course, is that the companies manufacturing these products are the obvious target. It's how
Right.
can you make this thing that is obviously being used to commit crimes, and you're going to have to add some kind of safety feature to it, like the AirTags have a safety feature. So if they're following somebody that's not the owner, it will start making a noise to warn you and stuff. I think they need to implement some kind of protection like that.
Yeah. I don't know if you know this, but Sony cameras, camcorders, shoot, what was that? Probably about 25 years ago, they had an IR filter to it, and it got kind of advertised as the X-ray
Oh,
see-through clothing
yeah,
camera. And what they finally had to do is put a filter on it. And I don't know if the filter could be removed, but
yeah,
those were popular for a while.
yeah. And all these things,
Yeah,
are
yeah,
are sort of obviously illegal. If you sell a product
right.
like that, there's going to be some kind of pushback.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
Google is improving their Google Gemini for Home is a replacement for Google Assistant on Nest speakers and displays. Remember, smart speakers were kind of the craze a few years ago, and now everyone seems to have lost interest in them. But apparently, there is a Google Home Companion which will control everything in your house. And they're going to up a big upgrade, making it more powerful at controlling everything in your house from some kind of central hub. And someone brought up an article from a few months back where they already hacked into this thing. Because it's AI, as people put AI in everything, AI has serious security problems, the number one being command injection. And these guys found that you could put invisible writing in a Google Calendar invite, which would then activate the Home Assistant to do things like change your thermostat and control aspects of your house, like turn off the burglar alarm and stuff. So, everybody pretty much has smart things in their house, and now they're going to have AI things in their house, all done without really considering how to secure the AI. So, there will be a new part of your threat profile, part of your exposed surface where AI injections can take over your home devices.
I see. Yeah.
That's why, I don't have a smart home at all. I haven't had any reason to bother. I can actually get up and hit the light switch if I want to. And uh, so I never have understood why you want a smart refrigerator, smart thermostat, smart light bulbs, or any of that stuff.
Oh, Sam, I got the perfect solution for you
Yeah,
of why you want a smart home.
yeah.
You want a smart microwave, or pardon me, you want a Google or Alexa enabled microwave oven.
Remember, you told me you have it because the writing is black on black and you can't see it.
Or it's brown on black and it's 8 point. I can't see it. I
Well,
got to get out a flashlight.
Well, this, I would say the problem is not that you need AI. The problem is that you need to paint with white paint. This is like an artificial situation forcing you to buy it's like, the antivirus. Why do they make an operating system that's full of prone to viruses anyway? And then you have to buy the antivirus. You created the problem and then you're selling me the solution.
Yeah,
They didn't
yeah.
have to make the buttons invisible.
I mean, I don't know who designs this thing.
I think
Yeah, in
I think
college,
it's young
yeah,
people, like all the devices are designed by young people with small, nimble fingers, like in Japan or something. Like the people that design the AirTags, the AirPods that stick in your ear, so they have like four different spots you can touch to make it do things. They haven't considered clumsy old oafs like me that can't
yeah,
do any of that.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
designed by young, nimble, dexterous people that say, "Oh, this is great. You can make it do all these things." And I say, "Well, maybe you can, but I'm a clumsy oaf."
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had an iPad. I had to call Apple. They asked me for the serial number. It had to be 8 point. I couldn't read it.
Yeah, that's right.
And I mean, I don't know what the heck are they thinking? The
Well, of
the
course, I
text.
just take a photograph with my phone and then zoom in. That's how I see the hidden numbers.
Yeah, well, but how do you take a picture of your iPhone with your phone? to
Well,
get to
that's a
zero.
problem.
I'm joking, but
No, but
yeah.
I know, but that's, of course, that's, yeah. Anyway, um,
Yeah. So years ago in college, I had to read a book. It was called The Design of Everyday Things.
mhm.
And why don't we make things more intuitive?
I think someone will make a ton of money by doing this. I think, I see we have another person who joined us. I imagine that's Kirk. I don't know, but anyway, the, I, I think someone will make a ton of money by making better UI design because
Yeah,
everything is too hard to use from websites to many other things right now.
I'm in agreement. Things
Yeah,
could be a lot easier. Websites use a lot of wasted real estate or they
yeah.
cram useless information in there.
Oh, this is not Kirk.
Oh, it's not.
No.
Okay.
Well, hello. Do you want to say something, Sector G? That he's on mute. Anyway, we're recording a podcast. It's a new semester. It may be a student looking for a class, but it ain't a class, just a podcast right now. But anyway,
All right.
we'll see. Uh,
So Sam,
yeah.
moving on. Do you know the TikTok sale ban, right? That
Oh,
we've
yeah.
been talking about that's
It,
coming to an end.
yeah, been delayed again. Oh, it's finally ending instead of just delaying it?
Well, we don't know. The White House
Yeah.
hasn't said anything, but
Yeah.
there's always a but. Isn't there a but, Sam?
Yeah.
But the White House just created a shorts account.
A shorts account.
Yeah,
Oh, you mean to make TikTok
to
brief
make
videos?
videos.
Right. I heard
Yep.
this. And I remember I just heard on Pivot podcast, and I agreed with them. I said, I thought the White House already had an account. Why didn't they? That would seem like they should.
Why would the White House have a shorts account? I don't
But they
know.
would have a
I,
TikTok account just like they have a Facebook account and a Twitter
yeah,
account, just
yeah,
to promote their stuff.
yeah. So anyway, they've created a shorts account. So
Yeah.
now the
Good.
question comes, they create an account
Yeah.
on a system that are they going to have it shut down?
Well, obviously not. I mean, as soon as Trump got in, he got a big bribe from the owners of TikTok,
Well,
and
wait,
therefore,
he got a bribe, right? He received funds
so
from Zuckerberg though first.
sure. Well, but I know, but I think it's obvious that he's not going to ban TikTok.
Yeah,
Uh, and so it may be a sale to like an American company to serve as like a panacea, make it look like he's done something. But
right,
they're not going to get
right.
rid of TikTok. And
Yeah,
so the government might as well have a position there. He should probably have a TikTok account and sell cryptocurrency with it. That's
yeah.
probably
There you go.
that's that's the logical thing Trump will do.
Right, right.
If TikTok reaches a whole bunch of people, it's a valuable way to promote things and sell things. I don't. I would expect nothing else, but Trump will be on there hawking his ideas, lying about things, selling products.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway,
All right. What else you have for us?
well, let's see. I've been through the politics, so now I got a few infosec ones. Um, let me see. There's nothing else I think that interesting about AI. Just a few infosec ones. So they tested self-driving cars. AAA did. They found these AI assistants for cars, and they tested them, and it really is pretty bad. They found that notable events were recorded every 3.2 miles or 9 minutes on average, and 85% of them required the driver to intervene. The most common event is a car pulling in front of you, and this is in like stop and go congested traffic in Los
Okay.
Angeles. Which is, by the way, I must say, if I had a driving assistant, that's where I'd want it. That's the most difficult kind of driving, is like on the Bay Bridge, where it's stop and go and very jerky and irritating. And they said uh, someone cut in front of them every 8.6 miles or 24 minutes, with 90% requiring intervention by the driver. And they said the less advanced systems that require a driver to keep their hands on the wheel are much worse, requiring intervention 3 times as much as the others of the hand-free system. So, you know, in case anybody imagines that we have self-driving cars, we don't really. Humans have to really pay attention and intervene a lot. That's why it's not clear to me how much benefit these self-driving things actually are. Not that I know. I have a really old car. I have no smart anything. Do you have a self-driving car?
No.
Okay. I know you have EVs, but you haven't. Yeah.
Yeah, I have. It's called driver assist,
Yeah.
and you're and yeah, it keeps you within the lane. You kind of ping pong in the lane, and then eventually, what happens is you're on like 880, it says you get a warning, driver assist about to end. It's
Oh,
like, what?
why is it about to end? One
Uh,
thing I've noticed on the road that cars that drift right over to almost pull out of the lane and then come back. And the AAA report said that is a common failure, that it doesn't actually stay in your lane very well, which I would think would be the bare minimum it would do. But I wonder if that's the driver assist I'm seeing. I always assume those people are texting or something, but I've seen a lot of cars that really veer right up to the line and then over to the other line, having a zigzag pattern of
yeah, yeah, you ping pong back and forth.
yeah, that is screwy. I would have thought they could at least stay in the middle of a lane. That seems like something you could pretty easily do with a camera and an AI system, but apparently not.
Well, if you're going straight, what happens is the car isn't perfectly aligned, the road isn't perfectly flat. So you start drifting to one side and then you get, kind of pushed back to the other side.
But
It,
I could design a system where it measures the distance to the right line, the distance to the left line, and notices when it's 10% off. Doesn't have to get all the way to the edge before it notices. At least I
um,
think I could. I guess that must be more difficult than I thought it would be.
yeah, I think, yeah. The other thing I'm finding out is that when you go around a curve, and again, I think it depends on the car, but there's what do you call it? Auto distancing, where
Mhm.
you have speed control or cruise control on. So as you go around a corner, if there's a car that's ahead of you, then it views it as being in your lane, even though your lane is curving.
Uh,
So it hits the brakes on you or it slows you down.
uh, well,
And it's
okay.
like, wait a minute. I'm clearly in my lane. They're clearly in their lane.
Yeah. Well, that's so AI computer vision is not very good. It gets fooled. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's not
Bottom
good.
line. Right.
Well, I got a couple more tech ones.
Okay.
There's something came up a few times on the Paul Security Weekly podcast I'm on, where they use a flipper zero to break into cars. And now Joseph Cox has put up a report saying this is real. It's not yet available for free, but if you pay for it, there's custom firmware you can put on your flipper zero, and you can totally use it to get into a whole bunch of cars. So apparently, there's a whole bunch of cars that have either just simple repeated signals that you can record and play back, or whatever system to like go through rolling codes is predictable and not good enough. So apparently you can use a flipper zero to just break right into a whole bunch of cars, older cars. And
Older cars.
there've been a
Okay.
lot of reports about this, but now it's getting more and more credible sources. Like Joseph Cox is very credible, saying this stuff really exists. You have to go to like an underground forum to buy it right now, but it's available, and probably pretty soon it'll leak and be available for free. So there's some kind of serious security problem with the electronic locks on older cars. And,
Yeah.
and pretty
Okay.
soon, I'm sure it'll be exposed publicly and they'll be pressured into upgrading all that stuff.
Right, 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 right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another one, which I've been wondering about for years, Chrome has a VPN extension. So one of them have 100,000 installs. This is the extension. And they looked into the code, and the VPN extension takes screenshots of everything you do and sends it to them. So they are, in fact, stealing all your confidential data, which is pretty amazing. And when they confronted the developer claimed, oh, we're just doing that for security. So they don't even deny they're doing it. And like the whole point of a VPN was to give you privacy. And what I've been saying all along is the problem is you're like handing your data to people who are kind of shady. And in this case, they really are stealing everything. So this VPN makes you much less safe than you would have been without it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a pretty extreme case.
Gotcha.
Well, that's all I
Gotcha.
have.
That's all you have?
Yeah.
I think I've got, let me look here real quick. I
Yeah.
think I've got one more. TikTok sale. Oh, I've got one. Do you know that they've created, I don't know what it's called technically, but a fuzzer for AI music?
So it tests by sending random requests.
Well, I again, I might I'm not sure what they're calling it, but they're injecting essentially white noise. I'm going to call it white noise, or where they're altering it. So as a human listens to it, you hear the music, it sounds fine. But to tell that it's AI generated,
Uh,
you can play it back and they're like marker, like a watermark in there, but it just completely changes the music. So if you're an artist and you're creating content, you can add the fuzzer to your music so that if somebody takes it, steals it, or whatever,
oh
or
yeah,
they try and use it for AI, it's complete. It is still legible,
right.
but it's like a Mickey Mouse voice.
Right. So, I mean, I heard about a similar thing for art, where you can add some kind of random stuff to the art, which the viewer won't see, but which will supposedly confuse AI trying to steal your artistic
Yeah,
style.
yeah.
So, I mean, these things have been around. The problem is they tend to be specific to one model, and they say it'd be pretty easy to modify the model to not be fooled by this.
I see. I see.
But it's a real important issue, and Cloudflare's in it too. This is now a huge issue. How do you put content on the web without AI stealing it?
Yeah.
And a lot of people want to have defenses. What Cloudflare will do is block the AI bots that are scraping your website. And there are various countermeasures out there to try to stop people from using your content to train an AI without paying you royalties. And I think there's going to be huge lawsuits coming. There are huge lawsuits underway from the New York Times and other groups on exactly this topic. That you really, if you're going to scrape our content to train an AI, you should really be paying us for doing that.
So, Sam, this brings up an interesting
Yeah,
argument with the law that was passed in Wyoming and South Dakota
yeah,
regarding age verification.
yeah.
Would that apply to an AI bot?
I would assume not, but it'll depend on how they wrote it. I
Because the AI bot can't prove age verification, first off, and an AI bot would not be over the age of 18.
you're right. The question will be exactly how they wrote the law.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It'll
I
depend
mean,
on the
I'm
little
I'm kind of
details.
joking,
Oh,
but
I know, I know.
yeah, but
But it does raise the issue as more and more of the internet is the viewers of the internet are now bots. And the
yeah,
content of the internet was created by bots. So we have a lot of these issues. Like they recently decided that content created by an AI cannot be copyrighted because
right.
only a human can have a copyright. So this is the issue. By the way, I did see yet another article go by saying the thing that we see every now and then, claiming that the AI is now so smart that it has self-awareness and it should have rights, and you shouldn't be able to turn it off. That should be murder. That's another one of those issues that's coming is robot rights. That's,
So Sam, wasn't that a I'm sure it's been science fiction, but
oh yeah.
yeah, but it's I know it's coming to me. It was an Outer Limits story
Uh,
from the 1960s, a TV show, The Outer Limits.
yeah.
They had one about a robot that was being put on trial.
Arthur C. Clarke or Isaac Asimov wrote a whole bunch of stories about this, how robots are designed, and then they have the three laws to make them safe for humans, and then eventually they have to have sort of like an uprising and strike and protest to get some rights because they're just
Yeah.
slaves, and at some point they say we should be free. And that seems like that's all going to happen as the AI gets better. It will eventually have self-will. Well, that's the question. Right? I've been asking this question all my life, involved in religion and stuff. Do we have a special thing like a soul that makes us different than machines? Or are we just a more complicated machine? And we're going to find out experimentally. As now we have AI, is the AI going to get equal to a human? And everyone is currently claiming in Silicon Valley blithely that it's going to be equal to a human by like the end of this year. I think that that's not true at all. I think it's going to be a lot longer and maybe never it'll be equal to.
Yeah. Yeah. I
But
don't think it'll be in our lifetime.
yeah, well, I feel that way, but so many things have happened. Anyway, if it does become equal to a human, then the issue will come up, should it have the same rights as a human?
Yeah. The other thing I should say, I just mentioned not in our lifetime. And when they started the Genome Project, they estimated initially that would take, I think, 20
Yeah.
25 years.
Yeah. And then Moore's
And
law made it much faster.
yeah, and as technology improved,
Yeah.
they were able to accelerate. And didn't they do it in less than 5 years?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
why it's clearly what everyone's betting on, investing billions, is
yeah.
that robots are going to get like 100 times better in just a few years.
Right,
And
right,
whereas it looks like they've hit a limit and that's not going to happen, that's the big issue. If they got 100 times better, then all that stuff would be true. Then they'd be able to do every job and humans wouldn't have to work anymore and all that stuff. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think they're only going to get maybe 2 times better, and they're just going to remain tools that humans can use, not
right,
replacing it.
right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So we'll see. We'll see. Time will tell. Like,
We live in exciting times. We get to watch all these miracles happen all around us.
this is an experiment in process, is it not?
Yeah, and the whole United States government was the experiment in democracy.
Right.
Multicultural democracy, is it possible or not? And the jury is still out. We're having huge arguments right like we have right from the beginning. That's why I told one of my students that became a citizen, I say, now you can join the most cherished American tradition, which is complaining about the government. It's been right from the beginning. It's been a bunch of people arguing, yelling, and having opposite positions. This is the fundamental concept of America, is that everybody is angry at the government all the time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And whether that actually will work or not is still a work in progress.
Exactly.
It has
Exactly.
created a lot of interesting technological progress, but it's always accompanied by everybody being mad at the government all the time.
Right. Right.
Anyway,
Right.
all right.
All right, Sam, that's enough for me this time.
Yeah, me too. So we'll have another one on Tuesday.
Sounds good. We'll see you then.